everybody. Thank you for joining us. My name is Stacey Baton. I'm here with Sandy Artman from VetJobs and our special guests from UPS, Rosemary Hughes and Damian Hunter. Sandy, if you want to go ahead this morning and kick us off, we're going to learn more about UPS and all the great opportunities that they have to share.
Well, thank you, Stacey, and thank you, Rosemary and Damon, for joining us this morning, eve of Thanksgiving week. So I know everybody's about to travel, so happy Thanksgiving, everyone. So we'll get right into it. Rosemary, you're up. Yay. You each have a unique story about yourself and about how you found yourself at UPS, and the opportunities. So what talk to us about what drove you to UPS, why UPS, what did you do before? How did you find yourself at the hub of a major logistics and shipping company?
Well, I will honestly tell you, Sandy, I had absolutely no desire. I never even thought about UPS. I was a physical therapist, and I was rehabbing a driver who had tripped over something. I don't know I don't remember exactly. It's been a long time. I've been at UPS 23 years now. And yes. So unfortunately, the physical therapy office was closing. And my driver said, "Why don't you come work with me?" And I said, and do what? I'm not going to drive a package car. He said, "No, you can be my driver helper through Christmas." It was this time of year. And that's what I did. It was November 21st. Actually, that's kind of strange. It is November 21st.
Wow.
November 21st, 23 years ago, when I got on a package car and helped deliver packages with what then became, and not that anyone really knows this, but he was my boyfriend for another 5 years. But we had a great time, and the opportunities that just came after that. So I worked until January. I was hired back in February as a human resource part-time supervisor. I was a recruiter in HR. Then I went into district safety. I was, again, training the drivers. You get lots of different opportunities at UPS. And I think that's what got me there, as far as I got there with being a driver helper and then stayed there because of all the opportunities. So that's how I got there. Damian, how did you get there? Now, Damian's Army, let me answer this real quick. Good, Damian.
Okay. All right. Sandy, for me, I'm going to give you two reasons, or I guess I would say two explanations. There's first the thing that led me to UPS, and then the second piece is what led me to stay. And I'll make that clear as I go along. But I was a collegiate student athlete down at North Carolina, Chapel Hill, and I was nearing the end of my athletic career. And a gentleman that I trusted a great deal, he was a mentor of sorts. He talked about healthcare, and he talked about how if I wanted to start my life in a way that I would not find myself going backwards due to the things outside of my control, i.e. accident, injury, etc., then I should preserve that part of my future by not going into medical debt. And so, because I revered him and I regard him highly, I took that advice and I went in and I was a UPS package car loader. So I was a part-time employee working from 3 o'clock in the morning until about 7:30. And I did get those benefits. I got those benefits very soon in my career: dental, vision, healthcare. Not a single penny came out of my paycheck. And so it worked well for me. Well, of course, I had these ideas of grandeur. I wanted to go and be a big Wall Street guy and, do what society told me was what made me successful. And so I gave myself a year. UPS asked for 1 year commitment. I was going to make good on it. And I told myself when that year was expired that I would go on and do these things that are aligned with the way I previously thought. And by the time I got there, what led me to stay was the sheer longevity, the amount of folks who had been at the company their entire lives. That spoke volumes. I realized the distinct education opportunities. They were paying for me to go to additional schooling, and I had wrestled and sweat and not eaten anything to pay for school. And here I am being able to work, earn money, and continue my education internally and externally. I was learning a lot about the world, a lot about the way the business world works, etc. The relationships were unique. I did not have to come outside of who I was, and I noticed that other people didn't. They were able to interact in a very natural way. It wasn't a stuffy environment. People could be candid with each other. And then, of course, there was opportunity. I saw where folks had gone on to be drivers, gone on to be feeder drivers, et cetera, and others had gone on into management and taken any branch that made sense to them and done a litany of other things. But I close with, I continue to be led to stay just behind the membership piece. There's a membership here. You belong to something that's big, something that's successful, and you do it in a transparent way. UPS makes it very clear what the expectations are. They give you an opportunity to accomplish them. And when you do, you're told about it. And there's something about transparency that just makes me feel at home. So tomorrow, those things will lead me to come again another day.
That's
Awesome.
really great. Sandy, can we underline that real fast? Because I think that's really important to share with the folks from our community. That, again, that mindset of you enter a company, everybody thought this was lost, that you could enter a company and you'd have longevity to continue on and progress in your career. I've heard young folks, and I say young folks because I've got college students, and they talk about that. Oh, Mom, that doesn't exist anymore. You don't stay with a company over your lifetime, but that's really not the case, is what we're hearing from y'all, is that there is great opportunity. And you find that a lot of folks there at UPS stay long-term, not just because of the opportunity, but because of the company and how they're treated. So I think that's fantastic to underline.
That is fantastic. You don't hear that a lot in corporate America these days. And so to hear that from you at UPS is tremendous validation to what a lot of us are looking for in a career. So I appreciate that. And you both talked about other opportunities. So it's not just driving a truck. You talked about in your examples, other opportunities that are there and how you got to where you. So I'll skip over the other opportunities question that I had teed up for you.
Well, it's true. Like you're saying, people don't see that we're a regular company. We have accountants, we have project managers, we have industrial engineers. People only see the brown trucks and think that's it.
Right.
But there is so much more.
Oh, yeah.
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 I want to add to that, Sandy, to give it some perspective, right? So you're looking at an organization, it's a global organization with 500,000 people, right? We're right at 500,000 folks. Yes. So if you think about anything, the larger it gets, the more there's just going to be in terms of support functions and opportunity, right? You take a small family, an immediate family, 2 parents, 3 children, there's so much that each person can do. But you take that and you move it out to a family reunion, and suddenly you have someone who's allocated just to help people get in and park in the appropriate space. And that's just kind of how it functions. The most real example I can give you is I had a person come in as a package handler. He promoted quickly. He was a E6 in the Army. He promoted quickly to a part-time supervisor. So he worked 5.5 hours a day. And just in casual conversation, I learned that he was a 91 Bravo. He was a light wheeled mechanic. I called up the president or the director of automotive. Well, now he's a supervisor in the automotive department, and he goes around and makes sure that our fleet is maintained in much the same way. His intention was to work at UPS 2 years while he waited on his spouse to leave the Army as well. And that was 6 years ago. Because the opportunity was so great for him. So that's just an example to add on to the piece that Rosemary spoke about.
That's excellent. Excellent. That's music to my ears to hear those types of stories. You know they exist, but to actually hear it is something else. So that's really good validation of UPS and what you stand for. So I'll let either one of you answer this one, but right now we're on the cusp of a recession. A lot of people aren't saying recession, but there's layoffs, there's not layoffs. UPS is hiring. What can you both offer in regards to why UPS? I mean, outside of the holidays, we get it. Increased package load and things like that. But outside of the holidays, why is UPS hiring?
And Rosemary, I can take that if you like, because I'm hiring more folks than you could imagine. In fact, in a facility that on the AM shift, right? I have about 400 associates that work the AM shift. and we are bringing on upwards of 15 or 16 folks per week.
Yeah.
In terms of the on-road, the driving portion, I am bringing on anywhere from 12 to 16 drivers each week. Now, to your point, Sandy, some of that is residual from the holiday, but we were growing prior to that. And the long short of it is we're smart. The organization is smart. Our CEO has been very diligent in remaining agile and nimble. We understand how to pivot. We know what to shed off and what areas to get into. So we don't want you to think transportation in terms of wheels, rubber meets the road. Transportation or logistics in general, it's warehousing, it's virtual warehousing. We're offering supply chain solutions to companies that are trying to build up organizations, and they just don't know how to do it that well. This is why you see some of the bigger clients. Back in the day, you saw the Dales. They utilize our supply chain solutions to get a grasp on that company and allow it to grow. But we're also looking at what the future looks like. And if medicine and medical is going to be an interesting venture and something that does well for the community, it also has a lot of margins to it. And we want to get people in so that we can capture that portion of that market early. And so we're growing exponentially, not just because there are more packages out there, because to be quite frank, more packages don't mean more longevity. They don't mean more success. Right. And to be frank, it doesn't mean more money. It's about how can you be as productive as possible in an economy that is constantly changing. And so some of our latest, biggest opportunities have been in mastering that international market, understanding how tariffs, understanding how demands are changing, understanding how cultures are changing, even down to understanding how wars affect the global economy and where we need to position ourselves so that we gain leverage and continue to grow. So other companies aren't as nimble, and in many regards, as they suffer shortfalls, then we absorb those opportunities. And so a lot of our growth, unfortunately and fortunately, is the byproduct of us being smarter, being more agile, and being more nimble, and being quicker to pivot as things change in our economy and in our politics.
Great reply. Thank you very much, Damon. So I'm going to skip over, you both talked about longevity and why you stayed at UPS and what drives people to stay there and the opportunities. In closing, I'll just and then open it up. But if you each of you had one thing to tell a military veteran or spouse about UPS, what would it be?
I'll go first. I used to work with the TAPS program for transitioning, and some of the questions were just basic, like, can I, take care of my kids? Can I do this? Can I? And, UPS offers part-time work and full-time work, flexible hours for management, especially in this new world that COVID created. A lot of jobs can be done remotely, as far as in sales and some other solutions. A lot of the background IT and TSG jobs, a lot of folks are not in the office 24/7. They'll go out, and for myself, I'm community relations now. I'm home. I'm in my home right now doing the paperwork and doing the background work, doing the emails and such. And then I go out and I might be gone for 2 days taking care of things in my territory. So there's a lot of flexibility that people don't realize. The other thing, as far as what we were saying, Damien mentioned it before, we pay for folks to go to school. We pay full benefits, medical, dental, vision, prescriptive, whether you're full-time or part-time. Once you get into management, we do have a healthcare plan that we do kick into, but there's just so many opportunities within the culture, just to help each other, to lift each other. As Damien said, talking to someone and saying, oh, I didn't realize you were the mechanic. I didn't realize what your background was. What is your skill set? And to his point, we were talking about the CEO. She's really honing in on the skills that people have in utilizing them. And again, with the new buildings that are opening, there's smart hubs. There's actually less people inside and more engineers working, more folks that are looking at a bigger picture. I did meet someone in the new building out in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, who is an industrial engineer. He was also a package handler. And he came in through an internship program and said, this is what I wanted to do. And I kept telling people that. And as soon as that opportunity became available, he went. So I wouldn't look at UPS as just those folks in brown, although I'm wearing brown right now. It's Christmas time and we all brown down. But, there's a lot of opportunity. There's, you got to pull back the curtain and know that you're joining a family. We do lift each other up. It's a great culture in that matter. You do work hard, but anyone coming from your audience knows what hard work is. And I think that structure and that longevity of the company is really vital to keeping people. Go ahead, Damien.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll add to that too. And I say this from a quite personal perspective. UPS believes in you. Yeah. And I'll tell you, I have a very unique story in that regard. I was an ROTC student when I was in college, and I didn't join the military after college. I came to UPS. UPS asked me if I had left a dream on the table, and I told them serving this nation was one of those dreams. And I was allowed to leave, join the Army, and they supported me fully during deployments, during any training, any time away. So I was allowed to join the U.S. Army as a UPSer, and they supported me for that entire career. So UPS believes in veterans, right? We honor them with every holiday that's remotely relevant, and we create organizations and safe spaces. Veterans BRGs or business resource groups allows you to come together, share those thoughts, share those stories, and get back out there and take advantage of UPS's litany of opportunities to continue to accomplish things. I'd also tell those families you're built for it and you deserve it, right? You've gone through the structure. You understand what it is to accomplish goals. You understand what it is to endure. You understand commitment. You understand integrity. Those things are not taught these days. Yeah. They're not taught the way they used to.
Leadership. Yep.
So these families are built for this organization, and they deserve to go from one arena to another where those core values are still essential and they're still meaningful. And you're going to get that. We're big believers in integrity. We're big believers in fulfilling the promise and taking care of the community while we take care of ourselves. And so that's what I would leave for those families. We believe in you. You're built for it, and you deserve it.
And one thing that you both said that kind of resonated with me is the all hands on deck. The browning down, the statements that you've made throughout. It seems to be very much a culture of everybody chip in and do what's needed in order to fulfill that. And I think that also resonates with folks from the military and veteran community, because that's absolutely how our community is. If something's needed, you jump in and you get it done because mission comes first. And so I applaud you. I think that's a fantastic culture that you have there in your company. And we appreciate the fact that you've come on today to share with us that culture, because the purpose of Salute to Industry is really to highlight opportunities that folks from the military and veteran communities are not always aware of, culture within companies that people are not always aware of, because we want the best opportunities for our people. And we want to make sure they're aware of those opportunities so that they can get to you quicker. So we appreciate you joining us. Thank you, Damien. I know you jumped through this morning, jumping on the phone and trying to be heard, sir. And we did hear your message. Thank you, Rosemary, for joining us. And Sandy, we'll leave you with this. If you're not looking at UPS jobs, please do. They're a phenomenal company. They have a lot to offer, and they're very much a place in an environment where you want to be.
Thank you. UPSjobs.com.
Absolutely. Good way to end it. Thank you, Rosemary.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you.